Hey, Red Carpet Rain here. Gonna talk about today. Chris Jericho warns WWE about ratings debate. Is Chris Jericho bitter towards WWE? We'll get to that in just a second. All right. So Chris Jericho recently did an interview call with the messenger.com, and he's talking about the whole, the last week of AEW versus NXT Tuesday Night War. And he's basically saying so many words that and I guess NXT shouldn't be so happy about it, or whatever the case may be. It sounds like Chris Jericho's a little irritated, maybe upset of some sort of whatever the case may be. But long story short, he don't seem too pleased about it. So we got to see what's going on with that. I'm going to play the clip of that interview, what's going on, and I'm going to react to that. Then there'll be some more. I'll react to a response to what someone said about what Jericho said. With that being said, I will play that clip right now. This is fair usage. Credit to the messenger. Fair usage.
Such a insane night for wrestling fans like myself, and to see AEW and NXT go head to head like that was, unlike anything we've seen in quite a while. I am curious though, when NXT pulls out all of those stops that they did, having Cena, having Undertaker come, turn that show into such a competitive night, does that kind of piss you off, or does that sort of allow you to think, wow, we must be doing something right if they're this scared about going head to head with us?
They're not scared. You know what I mean? I think it was just an opportunity to kind of like stick it to us with stunt casting. I told Tony, well, if you want to fire back, bring in Shaq and Snoop Dogg, and those types of guys, and Mike Tyson. But Tony didn't do that. We relied on our show and our guys, our girls. And that's the way it's always been for us. When we were doing, first on Wednesday, NXT decided we're going to be on Wednesday too, and we crushed them week after week. You can only bring in Cena and Undertaker and Cody and everybody else so much because nobody wants to work on their secondary show all the time. And it was a fun little, hey, F you AEW, and I didn't even really worry about it. I think the fact that their demo was a 0.3 and ours is a 0.26 probably tells more of the story than anything. This would be like a football game where you bring in all of your top stars from years prior and beat the other team 30-26. It's like a video game. Let's bring in Tom Brady from 5 years ago, and then play him for one game against Chris Jericho. And okay, great, you guys won, but you won 30-26. It's a field goal away, two pointers away. So Don't get too far up your own ass because you didn't do that good of a job as far as crushing us. And our show was better than theirs, quite frankly. So it doesn't bother me. It's competition, man. It's good for the fans. It's good for the companies. And all that matters is how your fans perceive you, growing your own show, growing your revenue. And I think we've done far and beyond what they ever thought. I mean, I think people who didn't like AEW thought we'd be done within 6 months. And it's been 4 years and we're bigger than ever, on the verge of another huge television deal. And that's all that matters.
So Chris Jericho saying despite AEW losing the ratings war, that they're still doing well as a business. Saying that people saying they wouldn't last this long, only be 6 months. They've been gone for 4 years. But you gotta realize, Chris Jericho, WWE has been around since forever. Started in 1952 with Capital Wrestling Corporation, and it's 2023. You do the math. That's over 70 years. So AEW has a long way to go before it gets to that point. So he has some nerve to say that. There's no way possible that they're even on the same level, not even close. But what I will say is, I will play a clip of Booker T and see what he had to say.
Basking in it, as far as, you know, if they would have actually, if the numbers would have been flipped, just say for instance.
Yeah,
I'm sure Tony Khan would be. It would be a party. It'd be a celebration if they would have actually won. So it's just like, I don't know what Tony Khan's motive operandi is. I don't know what his fixation is on WWE. And I've said this once, I've said it 1,000 times. Tony Khan got a hell of a product. He's got a hell of a thing going. But yeah. I really think, just like WCW, they focused on WWE, everything that they were doing. I mean, they tried to counter program every Monday night. What are they doing? What are they doing? And I really think WCW thought themselves right out of the war, because they were thinking about winning and beating WWE when they had a hell of a product already. WCW had a hell of a product. They had a hell of a blueprint.
Yep.
Well, when Eric Bischoff went out and, you know, started signing every guy that was out there, I thought that was a bad blueprint. Guys were on the roster, just like in AEW, that we didn't even know was on the roster. I just saw a couple of guys just got let go from AEW. I didn't even know who they were.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. It just let a couple of guys go. Maybe the contracts ran out or something, and they went on and let them go. But I didn't even know those guys, and it's a lot of guys on the roster that's such a better place than to be thinking about WWE and waking up in the morning and sending out a tweet or thinking about the show and sending that right there has to be nerve-wracking. I'm just saying.
Yeah, look, and I agree with pretty much everything you said, but I will say, when it comes to Tony, like some of the stuff he does on Twitter, it doesn't bother me, right? Like okay, before NXT the other night, he had the tweet that said "bald a-holes," right, or whatever, and that's meant to be directed toward.
So yeah, Booker T is saying that they need to focus more on their products, not worry about WWE so much. I'll play a little bit more of that.
Or certain people's way, right?
Yeah.
Sean and
I'm sure.
And this is what the tweet said for anybody who wants to know. Drew NXT. Drew
did the damn thing. 921K views. NXT, actually AEW did 609K. And that's a vast difference, man. That's a huge difference. 300,000 people. And people can say what they want to say. The one person I've always tried to stay off of, is I try not to dig at Tony Khan or anything like that, just because he's a guy trying to run a business. But at the same time, I got to take a dig at this last comment that he made about the NXT rating. He said that this was the first time that John Cena and The Undertaker appeared in front of less than a million people for WWE. And the thing is, he's got Edge, he's got Christian over there, he's got all those guys, and they've never performed in front of 600,000. So it's like, when you say stuff like that, you might want to think about it before you say stuff like that. You know what I mean? Because Edge was in the main event. Edge was in the main event of that show, and they pulled 609. And the thing is, I'm sure Tony Khan thought that there was going to be a bigger number. I'm sure. I can't be positive on this, but I would imagine that Tony Khan would have imagined that AEW Dynamite probably would have got a bigger number. And the thing is, I'm sure Tony Khan would have been gloating, basking in it, as far as, you know, if they would have actually, if the numbers would have been flipped. Just say.
Exactly. I believe that Chris Jericho and also Tony Khan, rest AEW, whoever feels this way, they are angry and upset that they had lost the Tuesday Night War. I mean, the numbers don't lie. They beat AEW Dynamite, 921,000 for NXT, 609,000 for AEW. And this is just a secondary show, like Chris Jericho would think, compared to their main show, Dynamite. So think about AEW when it was beating NXT back in 2019. No one was complaining. WWE did not complain as much. Triple H made a comment interview. That's it. They was not going off sending crazy tweets and having these interviews like Chris Jericho AEW is. They're being very unprofessional and they're being sore losers. And they just need to grow up. It's just one Tuesday. They are like this has been going on since the Monday Night Wars back with WCW versus WWE, Nitro versus Raw. It's been going on for 4, 5, 10 weeks or 52 weeks. They throw a number out there. It was only one Tuesday. And this Tuesday, there was no war because AEW went back to the original Wednesday night due to the MLB playoffs not playing this week on that network. And NXT was regular Tuesday. There it is. But it just showed that some people cannot just take a L. They cannot accept the fact they lost and they've been defeated. And that's what AEW and Chris Jericho has shown. As Chris Jericho, this is unlike him. It seemed like he's caping, for AEW, and he's blowing smoke up Tony Khan's butthole and blowing smoke behind AEW's behind. It don't make no sense. He's just blowing smoke up there, and they have to grow up. They just got to grow up. You lost AEW. The numbers don't lie. There's nothing you could do about it. Get over it. You lost. And when you do lose, you move on and you live to fight another day. There it is, point blank, period. AEW, I'm pretty sure you rebounded this week. Has a lot of good stuff going on, segment-wise with AEW, and WWE will do their thing. But that's it. That's all I have regarding the subject of Chris Jericho warns WWE about ratings debate. Soon 2 videos will pop up. The second coming of Randy Orton, the Finn Balor and creative make Adam walk away. Until then, it is OUT.